In Uganda currently, the value chain system is long, and the problem we have is that farmers are not organized. Most of the farmers were not organized. There is lack of access to market information, and then also the linkage between farmers and research institutions and extension services is completely unavailable. And also, most of the farmers are like still disorganized and disjointed. So what we came to do, what we came as Action Aid, one of the interventions that we try to do is to link the different farmers. We are doing this using the leaflet action groups. So like every group, members link up at the village level, they link up with other groups in the village, and then we form like one cooperative. Currently we have about 5 different cooperatives in different ARPs. And these now market together. We've tried to give them build stores for the farmers. So like you can see, the other one is a map, extreme, the other corner, that's the map of Uganda. You can see the dotted reds and greens. Those are all grain stores where farmers can collect bulk together and then sell together. But like you'll observe, some are red. So the reds in that map, there are grain stores in those locations, but they are not like functional. Farmers are not using them. And when I talk about the problems, I'll give the reasons why. Most of the stores are redundant, most of the stores are not being used, but we thought that these farmers will probably bulk together, sell together, and then probably market together. The next thing we are doing is linking farmers to market information. Uganda has there's an organization called AgriNet. So AgriNet collects information on prices in the different markets. For example, they will pick from this capital city how much maize is selling in this capital city, how much beans are selling in this capital city, and then they relay that information in a text message to the different farmers. So what AgriNet does is that they do research in the different locations on the prices, and then they channel that information to farmers mobile phones. So we've linked over 2,000 farmers to this AgriNet, and every farmer receives weekly, 3 times in a week, messages on their phone on the prices of the core products like maize, rice, the main crops. So people are able to receive prices. We have, like we told you, we have in these cooperatives, we've tried to provide a long chain of value chain machines. We have those women you see there, they were supported by a project called Women Rights in Agriculture. We supported them with a solar dryer. So what they do is that they grow vegetables as a group. There are about 300 women. They grow the vegetables, but instead of selling the vegetables in a raw form, because they don't get higher prices, they cut the vegetables, dry them using the solar dryer, and then they package the vegetables. So what you can see there, they were cutting cabbage, and then this is sukuma wiki. I don't know if you know sukuma wiki. It's eaten with ugali in Kenya. It's a vegetable like spinach. So they cut it, dry it in the solar dryer for about 2 days or 1 day, and then they package it in the polythene papers, and then that is sold, and that can take about even 6 months in the supermarkets. We are providing machinery like these value chain machines. Like we can give a whole range of, if you are, for example, producing maize, they give you like a maize cleaner, maize flour machine, the hara, and then the maize mill, so that they get the maize. They have machines that get the maize off the cobs. That's at like almost from the farm. So after that, they take the maize cleaner that removes the dust and everything, and then take to the hara that removes the husks, and then they put in a maize mill that mills the flour, and then they package the flour. So this is one of the groups. It's called Rural Development Link. We gave them all these machines. So they are packaging flour and selling maize flour to the different locations. Yeah, like I talked about the stores, that is infrastructure. We give them stores, we build stores for them, and these stores, they are multi-purpose. We encourage them to store seed. Part of the store is partitioned to store like seed for the next season, and then part is stored for bulking to sell when the prices go high. So I think then we're also supporting them to add value to do other things like grow mushroom, make soap, like bathing soap. So most of our groups are making like soap, mushrooms, candles. So those are alternative value addition options. The major problem we've had, one is low production sometimes. Like you find they have a big store like this, but they cannot produce enough to store into that, the store, because these are like over like 100,000 ton like stores, but they cannot fill the entire store. So most of the time they don't have enough to store. But also low production. Like for example, those women got an order to produce for some market, but they could not produce enough for that, for the market. The buyer came and said, we want this, but they cannot actually, they could not produce what the buyer needed. So there's low production. The other problem we have is the community still don't understand the concept of collective marketing and bulking. There's a lot of they don't understand the concept. So when you're telling someone market together, they think they can get probably more when they sell alone, or because of mistrust, because of they don't, some people feel maybe let's store in the store, but also I just come and sell as an individual. So that is something that we are trying to build capacity on. The other problem is the leadership challenges and group dynamics. Most of the groups like the other group, we had like 300 women, but they have gone down to about 250, 230. So some women break off of the group. So because of group dynamics, understanding how to stay together, that's one of the problems we have. Then the uneconomical value chains. There are sometimes they say they are not benefiting from it. Like when you take one woman, I was talking to some woman on the vegetable, and they were like, they put in a lot and then they don't gain so much. It's like not economical. Probably we are using it to bring them together, but they are not realizing the real economic benefits. Then the middlemen are still powerful. They can even buy the produce from the what? From the garden. Like I see your garden and I say, let me pay you even before it's time for harvesting to take to what? To the grain store. I think those are some of the problems. The other problem probably would be the market is saturated. Like all the women are doing the same thing. These ones are doing candles, mushrooms. Even these ones are doing candles, mushrooms. Even these ones, like they are all doing the same thing, and they are so we fear that at some point maybe the prices will go down because we are selling the same thing. I think that's all. The other thing I missed out is the research. We are also doing studies on value chain. We did a value chain study to see which products are working where in which regions. I think that's.
Thank you very much.
What is that 5 liters?
That is.
Wait. Can you ask the question again? Please. Ask
No, I wanted to know the 5 liters.
That is soap. They are making soap.
So liquid soap.
Yeah, liquid soap.
Hello?
Yeah, I want to know more about the agreement. Is this app or website or?
Sorry? So Agrinet is an organization of its own. Like it's a private company in Uganda that does research, market research, like market intelligence in the different like regional markets. So what we do is that we link the farmers to them, and Agrinet sends information like message on prices in the different markets to your phone, to the farmer's phone. So it is a private company, but we enroll, like we subscribe farmers to them, and the farmers receive messages that maize is this price, rice is this price, this is this price in this different location.
How many farmers are getting after?
Sorry.
How many farmers are there? What is the scale of operation?
Oh, for the text message.
The total number of farmers, how many are involved in this entire initiative?
For the market information.
No, not marketing.
Cooperatives. You said 5 cooperatives.
Total farmers.
Yeah. The numbers vary. The numbers are not the same. Like we have one of about 500. They're doing agriculture and then processing maize. Well, I don't have that slide.
Okay.
But it's about over 2,000 because they're in different locations.
Last one.
Yeah, just related to him, that is how much message is going to the farmer, number of farmers receiving message.
The messages. Yeah, we've rolled out this to about 1,000 farmers. 1,000 farmers, and like in a particular region of the country.
Okay. Bjorke is the last one.
Just wanted to know, you mentioned about some machinery in processing and all. So are these women workload reducing or are these labor displacing machinery? Are you conscious, are the team conscious about that?
I don't know if I understood. You're saying are the machines reducing the labor?
You mentioned that there is a cob remover machine also, no? To take out the cob of the maize. So initially that work was done by women, or who was doing that? Whether that was more painful, so that machine has reduced the treasury, or whether that has reduced the opportunity of women as a labor?
No, I think that initiative has reduced the time. First, it reduces the time of processing the maize, because initially we do using hands, like they remove the maize using hands, or you put the maize together and then you heat. So it takes time, and mostly women won't do such kind of work. So right now, you just bring the maize, put in the machine, and like after every 1 hour, you can have like 100 bags. I mean like 10 bags of maize off the home.
Thank you very much.